Hey there, you're listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion. Here's your host, RJ Carbone.
And a high drive into left center field. Stanley's going to watch another one fly. Are you kidding me? DiVincenzo a three. Bang! Bang! Knicks take a 1-point
time to apologize to absolutely nobody.
At the wall. See ya! See ya! See ya! Mr. Nova. Anthony for three. Bang! That one goes down and the game is tied.
Rose, you shook up the world again.
I did it again. My God did it, man. I really just had
Gonna have to. Bronson running away. Oh my! He has been the best player to put on that uniform.
Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Folks, not only are we 1 month away from baseball, we're less than 24 hours away from having baseball every day in some form. Spring training competition begins tomorrow, and you damn well know that the second I get home tomorrow, I'm going to be turning on a random baseball game, any one that I can find. I think the Yankees are on yes tomorrow. I'm not sure, but I don't have the Gotham app Yankees plan in the off season because I don't want to pay 40, whatever, 20, 30 bucks a month. But I'm going to find them online on my completely safe websites that I've got for sure. And I'll be watching some baseball because I'm excited, man. The season's here. I'm excited. And that's why we've been very busy on the podcast lately with the Yankees. Welcome to the Yankees season preview part 4. Definitely check out the latest preview episodes we did on the Yankees. Part 1 was solo. It's 3 parts. Part 2 was with Greg Gill from Yankee Crazy Podcast. He's been on the show a number of times. May as well be a guest at this point. Part 3 was recorded and dropped just a few days ago. It was with Dom Randazzo, big Yankees fan, who's also been on the show. And then this part is another part of this season preview solo in this episode, but we will be talking about some important Yankee bats, 2 Yankee bats who I think will play a pivotal role in this team's success this year. And these are 2 Yankee bats who we also recently wrote about. So go check out the newest blogs that we wrote on our website, BD4blog.com, where we talked about these 2 Yankees that I'm going to discuss in this episode. Before we get into all that, some injury updates because, of course, we know about the Jay Cousins forearm problem. That's probably going to cause him to miss some time in April. Hopefully it doesn't lead to anything worse, but you don't like hearing the word forearm. Trent Grisham has the hamstring injury that we knew about. He's recovering from that. Giancarlo Stanton, obviously a couple days ago, got the news about his tennis elbows, both of them. That seems like something that's going to require maintenance throughout the year, but it's probably going to cost him April. Austin Wells seems to be hiding an injury. You know, the Yankees say, oh, he's not hurt, but he's not swinging a bat, and he's not going to be in his spring training until March 1st. So he's definitely hurt, and, they're not letting off anything. Clayton Beater's got a shoulder issue, and then the newest injury updates, I think we got today that Chase Hampton has a UCL issue. That's always nice to hear. And Clark Schmidt is dealing with a back problem, which of course has the Keep Marcus Stroman crowd loud. And I don't know, it's something that Blake isn't concerned about, Boone's not concerned about, but the Yankees are never concerned about it to the press. It's something I expect them to take a cautious approach with, just because in the month of April, you don't need a number 5 starter really with the off days stapled in, and you're going to have a rain out or two. So we'll see. But those are your injury updates. I think I got everybody. Of course, Johnny Loizaga, as we found out earlier in the earlier this spring training, Johnny Loizaga, his return has been delayed to June, and Everson Pereira is still working back from his surgery. So that's it. I think I covered everybody. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. It's just tough to keep track of all these guys getting hurt. I don't know what they do to themselves in the offseason, but this happens every year. Maybe it's just baseball. It feels like it's been even more with the Yankees. So with that said, because of injuries and because of some of the questions in this lineup, who's going to step up? And that's what we're going to discuss in this show. Who on the Yankees is going to step up this year at the plate? There are a lot of candidates who you can consider as X factors, but I want to highlight 2 in this show. And I'll tell you who is not an X factor. Aaron Judge is not an X factor. Obviously, he's Aaron Judge. Everybody knows that if he's healthy, he's going to produce a 40-plus, 50-plus home run year. You could say Cody Bellinger could be an X factor, because he's had years where he's been an MVP, and he's had years where he's been a detriment. I don't think Paul Goldschmidt can be considered an X factor just because you're not expecting, I don't think any Yankees fans expecting much. He's on a cheap deal. His age, I think most of us are expecting adequate production. I don't think third base is really going to be an X factor. I'm not expecting much from whoever wins that job. LeMahieu, Cabrera, Peraza, etc. You could say that Jazz Chisholm or Austin Wells could be X factors. A lot of Yankees fans think Jazz could put together a 30-30 year. He could very well break out here. He was statistically great with the Yankees when he came over last year. In terms of Austin Wells, it's kind of unfair to expect a catcher to play a giant role with the bat, but could be. But my X factors, if you narrow it down and do some process of elimination, Jasson Domínguez and Anthony Volpe. 2 guys who I believe in either direction, both good or bad, could impact this Yankee lineup depending on what they do. Domínguez is finally getting his opportunity to shine, and with what I believe is at least an aspect to look out for is power, right? That's been a big talking point of mine throughout this offseason has been, will the Yankees have enough power in their lineup now that they lost Juan Soto, they lost Gleyber Torres, Cody Bellinger's got this new contact-oriented approach where in 3 of his last 4 seasons, he's not brought a ton of power. He's been below 20 homers. Paul Goldschmidt could easily give you a 15-homer season where he doesn't provide much pop. Third base, there's really nobody with power there. If it's LeMahieu, Peraza, Cabrera, Vivas, I don't think you're expecting any of those guys to hit 25 bombs for you. Austin Wells hasn't shown you a ton of pop. Is he even healthy? We'll find out. And Giancarlo Stanton's already hurt. Volpe's a big question mark, right? So those are your guys. Really, it's like, who's going to be the guy to provide power outside Judge? I think Domínguez has a chance to be that guy. The tools are all there with Anthony Volpe to be a good bat. He's got some skills there. We've seen flashes with the bat. But at the end of the day, on-field production is what matters the most, and consistency matters the most. And he's not been that yet. And so he's entering kind of a make-or-break season with him. You heard here and there from irrational fans like myself, the word bust fly around last year. I think if he has another bad year, that's going to get even louder. Because this is the top prospect, not only in the Yankee system, but it was one of the top prospects in the MLB pipeline. So the Yankees, yeah, they're going to need somebody besides Aaron Judge to give you an all-star caliber offensive season, to be this 800 OPS bat. Who is that going to be? And I think the guy I look at the most as the guy who has the most potential to bring you that all-star type production is 1,000% Jasson Domínguez. So I want to talk Jasson Domínguez and start with him the moment we return from our first break here on the show. Welcome to episode 806. Be right back. BD4 is available on social media for those who want to follow. You can find BD4 on Instagram at BD4Pod. You can find us on X at BD4Pod. And you can find us on Facebook by simply searching BD4. Hey guys, just a quick reminder, this podcast is also available in video format on YouTube. So be sure to go over to the YouTube channel, BD4, subscribe, like the videos, comment, and tell me how much I suck or maybe how much you like the video. We'd very much appreciate it. Don't have time to sit down and watch a video? You can listen to BD4 on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And you can also watch the video format on Spotify too. Domínguez, the window's open for him now. You know, Alex Verdugo is gone. Juan Soto's gone. Spencer Jones is not ready. He's the guy. He's the guy. He's the guy who Yankees fans are looking at with promise and hope. This is a kid who has terrorized, as I used in my article, terrorized AAA pitching the last couple of years. Right? In 2023, he hit very well at both levels. And so the Yankees promoted him. They said, Harrison Bader, see you later. We're cutting you. And they gave the job to Domínguez in the month of September. He provided, was it September or August? I don't remember now, but it was at the end of the year. He provided immediate impact with that, obviously that home run off Justin Verlander in Houston. 0-1 fastball, lower portion of the plate. He turns on it, shoots it the other way, over the left field wall. What a first at bat. And then he goes on to produce some really robust numbers, but in a very small sample, like a week and a half sample, because his season was cut short due to an elbow injury. And he ends up having to get surgery on the elbow. And so he missed the rest of the season. He missed the first half of 2024. He returns in the summertime, plays for a little bit. He hits well in AA, but he goes back onto the DL with an oblique injury. So that sidelined him for another number of weeks, a month or so, whatever it was. Comes back, gets off to a slow start in the minors, but then finds himself, and he returns to the Yankee lineup as a September call-up. Inconsistent bat when he came up. It wasn't the same as it was in 2023. The glove wasn't good, as we know. Still made all 3 playoff rosters, but he didn't see any action, whether it was at the plate, on the bases. Definitely wasn't in the field. Didn't see any action in the playoffs. But now, he's finally got an opportunity with no Alex Verdugo out there to really take this job over. He's just, and this is the one thing above all the details that we're about to dive into, he's got to stay healthy first and foremost. He's had a couple injuries to start his career now. If he gets hurt again, it's a bad look for the kid. Not to throw labels at him, but you're going to start hearing that injury-prone label if Domínguez misses a decent amount of time again. And I mean, like, outside Aaron Judge, this is probably the one Yankee I want to see healthy the most. Obviously, you never want anybody to go down, but Jasson Domínguez is the one guy that I really need to stay out there for 145 plus this year. I want to see what this kid looks like given a full shot, because I really do believe in him. There have been a lot of Yankee bust position players over the years. I think the skill set is there, and I think it eventually will pay off. Whether you're looking at the scouting reports, some film in his minor league career, whether you're looking at the major league stints that he's had, you can see it. You can see it. You can see the raw power, the bat speed, the fact that he hits the ball super hard, the high plate discipline. He works at bats, extends at bats, draws his walks. You can see the talent. And despite the up and down numbers at the major league level, still, across 26 games, he's got 6 homers, 6 stolen bases, 13 walks, 11 RBIs, a 437 slug, and a 107 OPS plus. So the numbers do still show that when he is clicking, that's what Domínguez can be. The indicators are there. It's one thing for a young player to be able to hit a fastball hard. It's another thing for a young player to do that with a very keen eye, especially from both sides of the plate. And I think that's what separates Jasson Domínguez from other young prospects the Yankees have had in the past. He does it with plate discipline. You heard all about Clint Frazier's bat speed. Clint Frazier didn't have amazing discipline. Miguel Andujar, you heard about him hitting the ball hard, line drive doubles. The guy swung it, pitches in the left-handed hitter's batting box. Like, Jasson Domínguez actually does it with a professional approach, and that's what excites me. And so you go to some of these sources, you go to Fangraphs, and when you look at the steamer projections on a guy like Jasson Domínguez, it gives you a pretty intriguing glimpse. It's nothing crazy, his projections for this year, but it's notable given that projections do tend to err on the side of caution. They tend to be a little more conservative. And they have Domínguez for this season across 136 games to bat to bat with a 746 OPS, 112 WRC plus, hit 18 home runs, and steal 18 bases. Now, of course, you got to take that with a grain of salt because projections are just an estimated guess. They're uncertain. No shit. But something like that, that's a win for Jasson Domínguez. You take it. But I will say, man, I think there's more there. And I think even if it's not this upcoming season, I think eventually, just because of all the hype and all the non-trades and the non-signings due to the high expectations of the Martian, I'm not saying that Domínguez needs to end up being the next coming of Aaron Judge, but you want to see this kid finally hit. You want to see the Yankees finally have a prospect that hits. And you hope that someday soon, Domínguez can become a perennial all-star. Domínguez can become a mid-800s OPS bat. And if he does something like that, that's a resounding success for this kid. But I do believe that's in there. I believe that's in there to where he can do it this year. I think there's a world out there where Jasson Domínguez goes out there and he produces all-star type numbers as a rookie this upcoming season. And he shatters, baseball, and he makes headlines like Acuna did when he first came up with the Braves and guys like Tatis. I think that's in Domínguez's bat. I really do believe it. Now, of course, the other side, you got to have defense, man. You got to see a better glove from him. And I think context is also very important when we refer to what happened last year. This is the Yankees calling up a very young player. It was a late promotion in the middle of a pennant race. And they said, hey, learn this new position. Come play left field even though you're a center fielder, come play left field in a very expansive Yankee Stadium left field. And I think it's unfair to him. I think it's unfair, the fact that he was being compared to Alex Verdugo's high-quality defense. It's going to make him look worse. And I'm not trying to sit here and make excuses for the kid, because he made JV mistakes on easy reads and easy fly balls. But it was a limited sample. And again, the kid wasn't even considered a rookie yet. I'm just saying I think he deserves a second chance. That's all I'm saying. He's had a full camp. He's had a full off season. He's coming into a fresh 2025 season. Not saying he's ever going to win a Gold Glove. He won't. But can he be an average outfielder? Can he do something like Juan Soto last season? Played the easiest right field in the game. Was very bad at it. Nobody cared because he hit. Domínguez, let's remember, he's also got a very strong arm, and he's got good athleticism. He covers a lot of ground, so that's going to mitigate for some of his other deficiencies. I think he'll be fine defensively. I wish he was center field. I do. Put him at his natural spot, surround him by good gloves in Bellinger and Judge, but they want him to learn left field, whatever. I think at the end of the day, he'll be fine. Will there be, there will be, not will there will be some moments that don't look good, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as last year for a 162 rate. I think we've got other areas of development to focus on with Domínguez. And one of the areas of improvement, I think, is going to have to be working on that right side of the plate. You know, he is significantly less successful from the right side of the plate than when he bats lefty. Whether that be in his major league career, where across 31 plate appearances, 115 average, 319 OPS, or his minor league career, where every year in the minors, except for 2022, he's posted very underwhelming numbers from the right side of the plate. He doesn't need to be amazing from the right side. His strength is always going to be that lefty power, but be average to above average from the right side of the plate, and that's a win. And then that can kind of go hand in hand with generating a little more loft on his swing. You know, getting the ball in the air more for more power. That's something I'm going to be keeping an eye on. In his major league career so far, he's got a 2.8 degree launch angle. That's 9.5 degrees lower than league average. That's a lot. He also gets he gets the top half of the ball a lot, which, you know, that's not good. His top percentage, 19.1% higher than league average. That is a ton. So that's led to very high ground ball rates. He was 12.3% higher than league average so far in his major league career. And a high fly ball rate that's 5.5% worse than league average. So he's got to hit more line drives, get more loft on the swing. Now he's 4.7% worse than league average in terms of line drive rate, which is not too awful. So that tells me, you know, a minor swing adjustment is going to help him generate more line drive, extra base hit power. But that's something that could impact him. Because I did notice a lot, especially last year, that there were a lot of ground balls to the pull side. So I don't know. I wonder if some of that has to do with the oblique injury that can affect your front side. Just something. It's an area to keep an eye on. I'm going to be focusing on that in April. I don't really look at things in spring training because players have tendencies to go back to what they were comfortable with. If they make adjustments in March, they'll revert back to what they're most comfortable with in April. We've seen that before. So just a minor thing to look at regarding Domínguez. A couple of things there to look at regarding Domínguez in the early going. And, the production's going to depend on a lot, too, where he hits in the batting order. Is he going to lead off? Boone has mentioned Domínguez as an idea to lead off. He could be there. The characteristics are certainly there. He's got the traits to lead off. He's got the switch hitting bat. He's got the power, the eye, the speed, all that traditional stuff is there. But also he's a young and unproven player, right? And you've seen good examples of that. Anthony Volpe is a good example of why not to rush it. We saw what happens when the Yankees try to put him at one, whether it was in his rookie year or after he got hot in his sophomore year, they put him at leadoff and he tapered off again. Sometimes those guys can press. Now, as a major league hitter, the two spots that he's been in most frequently and the two spots that have been the most successful for him at the same time have been the 3 and 6 hole. And again, this is across 100 plate appearances at the big league level. He's had 29 plate appearances in the 3 hole, a 940 OPS there. And in the 6 hole, he's got 25 plate appearances where he's produced a 789 OPS. So those are, in order, his two most frequent and successful spots in the order. Now, as a minor leaguer, he mainly hit in the 3 hole last year and the year before. But you go back to 2022, he did hit a lot of leadoff. So he's had experiences in multiple spots. Overall, part of me wants to protect him from the pressures of leadoff, and I want some more experience there. But there's another part of me that's kind of intrigued, that kind of wants him to get challenged and let him grow and throw him into the fire, stop babying him, because not every player is going to be the same, right? Just because Anthony Volpe started to press a little bit when he was put at the one spot doesn't exactly mean the Martian's going to. The Martian's got this internal clock where he just looks like he's ready for the moment, man. He looks cool, calm, and collected when he's up there. He looks like a professional. I feel like he could thrive. If they put him up there opening day, said, hey, go lead off, I don't think I'd be pissed off. But Jasson Domínguez, I think, is going to be a big-time piece to this season as long as he's healthy, and I really have confidence that he, at the very least, even if he doesn't break out, could be productive. But I do think there's a higher percentage in Domínguez to break out than there is anybody else after Aaron Judge. So keep an eye on him. And I want to talk a little bit about Anthony Volpe and the potential that he's got to make big impact in this upcoming season, if that's there. So stay with us. When we return here in episode 806, we'll talk Volpe. If you feel like supporting the podcast, you can Venmo at Robert-Carbone-JR-28. We really appreciate your support. Do you enjoy Yankees baseball but are tired of hearing me yap? I have a suggestion for you. Go check out Yankee Crazy Podcast. Greg Gill is a Yankees podcaster on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and he's now selling merch. Go to yankeecrazy.myshopify.com. All right. Anthony Volpe entering a make or break campaign in year 3, right? 2 years ago, it was Oswald Peraza versus Anthony Volpe out of camp. Those two guys entered spring training battling for the shortstop position. Anthony Volpe put up the better spring, won the job. Jersey Italian Americans rejoiced. And here we are now. We're in year 3, entering year 3, and he's still yet to show out despite a very long leash, right? I mean, they have given him the job and they've said, here, you experience the ups and the downs and you're going to get yourself through it. We're not going to pull you. We're not going to bench you if you're struggling. We're not going to send you down. None of that. We want you to experience it. This is part of throwing you into the fire. And it's not been good so far at all, really, at the plate. And the Yankees are, every time they get an opportunity to try and save face, they twist the narrative, right? They try to gaslight the fan base, right? They tell you, well, the glove's amazing. Take it and run. You had Boone's infamous episode on John Boy last year. But Yankees fans, most of us, aren't stupid. Yankees fans know baseball. And we can remember 2-3 years back where the initial billing on Volpe as a top prospect was that he was this gap hitter with a compact swing and some line drive power. That was what they sold us. That was everything they told us. He has been everything but that so far in his major league career. Now, I'm not saying he has to be this all-world MVP, this batting crown hitter, but as a slick fielding, rangy shortstop with exceptional base running skills, I just need him to be an above average bat to round out the rest of his game. Can you do that? If we get something like that, if we get a Gold Glove caliber shortstop with a 115 OPS plus bat, give or take, who could steal 20 bases, run into 20 home runs, but still produce you good on base numbers, that is a great win. I think every Yankees fan ever would accept that. But you don't have that right now. Right now, what you have through 2 seasons is an 83 OPS plus bat. And these 2 seasons have both been underwhelming, but they've came in 2 completely different ways. He's had 2 totally different approaches in each of his seasons so far. As a rookie, Anthony Volpe came into it with an aggressive pull-hitting tendency with a high launch angle, right? His pull rate was 9.5% more than league average. His launch angle was 1.9 degrees higher than league average. It helped him get to 21 home runs, but it also came at the cost of contact and efficiency. He had just a 209 average, a 282 on base, a 28% K rate. He was forcing home runs, and he didn't really let it come organically. So he entered the offseason, and he came into camp last year with a totally different mentality. He adjusted his approach for more contact. He leveled out the swing, lower launch angle. It was 3.9% below league average, or 3.9 degrees below league average in launch angle. Big difference from his rookie year. And he tried to slap the ball more the opposite way, which he had a pull rate 7% less than league average. He was more up the middle in some opposite field, or up the middle and opposite way a lot more. And that led to increased contact numbers. The batting average jumped 34 points to 243. The K rate dropped to a league average figure. But the power plummeted. It came at the cost of power. That was the trade-off. The home run totals cut in half, and the slugging percentages dipped to 19 points, or dipped 19 points lower. So, the different approach kind of yielded the same below average results. Arguably worse. I would probably still take his rookie campaign over what he did last year. So the key going forward for Anthony Volpe is just going to be to find a balance. He's got to strike a balance between power and contact. Discover his identity as a hitter. You got to understand your strengths and weaknesses. It's all going to be about developing a consistent approach to hitting to find his full potential. And, given his frame, he's 5'8", 5'9", $160, $170 soaking wet. I would like to see the home runs come a little more naturally. But at the same time, you want to see him drive the ball with more authority and more purpose. natural power plus deliberate and impactful hitting, that's going to equal success for Anthony Volpe. That's got to be his formula. Because right now, you go onto his Savant page, it's all blue. Hard hit, barrel, exit velo, expected numbers, it's all very below average. He can hit the fastball. He can slug against fastballs. But he's struggled mightily against off-speed and breaking. His career, he's got a sub 210 average with a sub 350 slug on non-fastballs. And he will continue to get a heavy diet of off-speed and a heavy diet of breaking pitches until he figures that part out at the major league level. He has to be able to close the gap, whether it's making swing adjustments again or just improving his overall pitch recognition, punishing hangers and laying off junk. He's got to have a more consistent approach and got to be more efficient up there. And we need to see what we see when he's hot. We need to see what we saw in the postseason from Volpe. Right? We always talk about this. I talk about this with my buddy Greg Gill a lot. He brought this up. He keeps bringing this up to me. He loves what he saw from Volpe, and he wants him to build off that. And that's exactly the blueprint that we want. The 2024 postseason is a very compelling blueprint for Volpe's future. If he can do what he did then, numbers-wise, that's a giant win. He hit 286 with a 407 on base. He had 3 doubles, a homer, 6 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, worked 10 walks, only struck out 13 times in 14 games. And it was the same thing against fastballs in the playoffs. He continued to do damage against fastballs, yes. Whether it was getting to fastballs on the outer edge or taking those inside-out swings on fastballs and on the hands, he did his jobs against fastballs, right? In the Royals series, he had some hits against Reagans and Lugos. In the Cleveland series, he hit that Class A cutter, right? Low in the zone, gets the cutter, gets a hold of it, RBI base hit to tie the game in the 9th inning. He continued to hit fastballs. But what really stood out in the playoffs from Volpe, which was different than what he did in the regular season, was one, he was spitting on some really tough pitches on the edges, especially in that Royal series. But also, it was his performance on off-speed and breaking pitches when he did swing at them, especially in the later 2 rounds. Game 3 against Cleveland, he pulled that curveball. It was a really good curveball by Tim Herron. He pulls it for a double. And then you get to the World Series. Really, really nice job against the Dodgers breaking pitches. Game 3, he slaps a base hit the other way against Walker Buehler's slider low and out. Game 4, obviously he went below the zone to get that Daniel Hudson slider for the grand slam that he pulled to left field. Later on in that game, he shot a hustle double in the gap off of a Honeywell. It was a slider below the zone that he went down and got. And then Game 5, Jack Flaherty hangs a curve. He punishes him. So you saw that was the difference. He was taking care of the breaking balls that he got. That's going to be key. And in particular, it's been the changeup and the sweeper. The changeup, the curve, and the sweeper have been his biggest nemesis statistically. But be a little more selective. That's the game right there for him. That's what's going to change his game. That's what's going to depict his MLB career. Boom or bust. But that's it, man. So we're going to head to a final break here. Get back and wrap this one up. Anthony Volpe, Jasson Domínguez, 2 key pieces. Stay connected with us. Visit BD4blog.com to explore our blog, tune into our latest podcasts, and follow us on social media. Thank you for being a part of this community. Okay. Yeah, these are 2 bats I think will make or break the Yankees 2025 campaign. If both of these guys come through, the Yankee lineup is going to be top 10 in baseball. If both of these guys underwhelm, I think the Yankees are potentially screwed. I think the key is going to be to get both of them to either be above average or one of them be very elite. So I think in some combination, you're going to need production from Volpe and Domínguez. I think those are your two most important bats heading into 2025 here for all of those reasons. So that's all I got, folks. I appreciate you all for tuning in. And with that said, we're going to wrap this episode up, 8:06 here. And that's our season preview that's our part 4. That's our part 4 of the season preview for 2025. We'll have some more of these out. If we can get some more guests, we'll try to do that. We'll see. But that's as far as Yankees stuff goes. We're back with the Knicks this week and this weekend as they return to action tomorrow night. But as I'm recording and as this episode will probably drop, it is Wednesday night, the 19th, February 19th. So I appreciate all you Yankees fans for tuning in. I'm excited. And those are my two key X factors as far as the offense goes. Appreciate you all. See you soon. Later. Well, if you made it this far, that means you listened to or watched the entire episode. Thank you. Just remember to follow, subscribe, download, rate and review, and all that fun stuff to help out the podcast. And I will see you in the next episode of BD4.